Hey, I'm John Chen, author of Engaging Virtual Meetings and the producer of TechLearn 2021 Virtual Conference, coming up October 25th through the 29th. And welcome to TechLearn Tips. Today, our guest is Dani Watkins from Zenith Performance Solutions. Dani will be speaking at TechLearn 2021, and today she's going to share one tip from that session to help you create more impactful training. Let's bring on Dani. Dani, how are you doing today?
I am very well, thank you.
You look fabulous.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's see. So you're going to be speaking at TechLearn 2021, an all-virtual conference, and you have a tip for us today. What is your valuable tip?
Sure. My tip today, so my session is around creating better estimates for e-learning. And overall, I think this is an area that not only internal employees struggle with, but also external freelancers struggle with. And they struggle with them for different reasons, but it always is that magical question of how long will this e-learning take? And then being posed as a question to you as an e-learning developer or an instructional designer and having to make the decision of, gosh, I'm not really sure. So my tip for you today, and some of the tips that I'll be sharing in my session, are all around e-learning development considerations. And that's really where you need to start, is to think about whatever that e-learning looks like. What are all the different things that you could potentially, that could impact the timeline and impact the estimate? So for example, e-learning development considerations might be things like, are you doing a course conversion only? Not necessarily the best choice when it comes from an instructional design perspective, but we know that we're always limited by time, money, and resources. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes you're doing just a direct conversion. So how are those source materials? What sort of format are they in? Are they in a PowerPoint? Are they in a recorded instructor-led or virtual instructor-led session? What's the SME availability, the subject matter expert availability, to provide kind of the timely and accurate support that you need? What type of training is it? Are there visuals that need to be created? Is there video that you're going to incorporate? Is there audio? So you start to list all of these e-learning considerations, and then those build into a repeatable tool that you can create, so that every time you're creating this e-learning, you're asking the same questions so that you can get to some really good estimates when you're creating that e-learning, depending on the different delivery styles. So whether it is in a tool like Captivate or Adobe Captivate or Articulate Storyline? Is it in Articulate Rise? Is it going to be a virtual instructor-led training session? But all those questions that you ask to get at the types of content that you're going to be working with and how long those activities are going to take you.
So Dani, are you telling me you kind of like have this magic pseudo formula which says I have these things and these things on this platform and this thing, and then I can actually plug out a pretty decent estimate number?
Yeah, so I take everybody through how to create an estimation tool for themselves, because the questions I'm going to ask are going to be very different potentially than the questions you may ask, depending on your work situation and the tool in which you're building it in. And so I have sort of a 5-step process for, you need to look at some past data. You need to ask these e-learning development considerations so that you can have a repeatable tool that you can use every time you need to create those estimates.
Dani, might you have an example of like when you really nailed an estimate? I would love to know how you, of course, gathered all and gained all these amazing skills.
Yeah, so the final product for me is I have an Excel spreadsheet that I've created that has some macros in the background so that all those e-learning considerations like, will there be audio? Are we recording it, or is the client recording it, or somebody internal going to record it? All these questions, and then I know how long it takes us to do different tasks. So I plug it into my little spreadsheet and out pops my estimate. And so after a long time, we've gotten pretty darn close on all of our estimates, but anybody can build it. I haven't built it in anything that's revolutionary other than Microsoft Excel. And it's really about the process, not about the tool. It's knowing learning, what are those considerations that you need to take into account that sometimes aren't on the typical, analysis form as an instructional designer.
Well, thank you so much for that, Dani. I'm excited for that session too. I know I've been on a whole bunch of projects, and you start here, right? And then as the scope comes on, you find out the reality is somewhere around here, right?
Correct.
And so, I'd love for that help. Of course, I'm sure as for us who do a lot of this training and building these courses, the better we can estimate, the better we can run our businesses for that. So, thanks again, Dani.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Excellent. All right, let's see. So, Dani, thank you again so much for that TechLearn tip. I look forward to being able to estimate better. TechLearn has more than 130 learning experiences, all for $595. Register now at techlearnconference.com. And if you use the discount code CHEN, Charlie Hector Enigma Nigeria, you can save $100 and get a free $29 book on top of it. And we will see you there. Thank you so much.